Hi everyone, my name is Katie Trotta. I am the pharmacy manager over here at the Health Center Pharmacy. I'm also the co-chair of the Healthy Camels Committee. So you heard from Dr. Pennings about some ways that you can improve your sleep hygiene that can help with your sleep, and you're still having some issues with sleep and you're wondering about medications. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the medications available for sleep. I'm going to start out with over-the-counter options. We do have two over-the-counter first generation antihistamines that can be used for sleep. So there is diphenhydramine and doxylamine, which are both marketed under the brand name Unisom. So first generation antihistamines do help to fall asleep, but they don't come without side effects. So they are going to give you a little bit of that next day drowsiness, make you feel a little sleepy in the morning. They're very drying, so they'll cause you to have dry mouth, dry mucous membranes, and really they're not a great long-term solution to insomnia. So if you are considering using a first generation antihistamine, first of all, you should talk with your pharmacist to make sure they don't interact with any of your other medications that you're on. If you are a little bit older, maybe consider staying away from these medications because they can increase your risk of dizziness and falls. And again, they're just not great long term. So if you are going to use them, stick to a short-term use and make sure they are right for you before you pick this type of medication. So next we have some supplements that we can use over the counter. I am highlighting 4 today. So the first one is melatonin. This is probably what you think of when you think of an over-the-counter supplement for sleep. Melatonin does have some good data to show that it can help with falling asleep. So if you take melatonin about 30 minutes to an hour before bed, it can help promote feelings of sleepiness and restfulness and calm and help you to fall asleep a little bit quicker than if you don't take melatonin. The dosing on this is anywhere from 1 to 10 milligrams. I always recommend starting at a 1 or 3 milligram dose and then increasing if you need it. And then really just using this as needed. Trying not to use it every night because you can develop a little bit of a tolerance to it. There are some new formulations of melatonin that are slower release, and there's a little bit of better data associated with those. So if you look for like the extended release or slow release melatonin, that may help a little bit better with staying asleep. Next, we have valerian. So this one might not be one that you've ever heard of or tried before, but valerian actually can help with sleep quality if it's used consistently. So valerian isn't one like melatonin that you can just take and then it will work that night. It is one that you need to take consistently to see benefit. So for valerian, doses of 300 to 600 milligrams used nightly for 4 weeks were seen to improve sleep quality, as well as like helping you to feel better when you wake up in the morning and just better sleep overall. So this may be something that you want to try if you feel like you're not getting a good quality sleep. Next is ashwagandha. So ashwagandha I feel like might be all the rage right now. People are using a lot for anxiety. But there is some data on ashwagandha for sleep as well. So this is going to be a 120 milligram dose. Similar to valerian, does work better if you do it over time. So studies for this one looked at the use of ashwagandha for 6 to 12 weeks and found that usually people do have a little bit of a benefit when they just start out, but it does improve over time up to about 8 weeks. So this will help with falling asleep and staying asleep as well as total sleep time. Ashwagandha really just helps to promote calmness and feeling better overall, so I think that can also contribute to improved sleep. And then I just wanted to talk briefly about CBD because I think this is also something people talk about a lot. So there can be good efficacy with the use of CBD, but you want to look for a broad spectrum product, and then you want to try about 10 to 20 milligrams to start and then increase slowly. We see a U-shaped effect with CBD, which means it's going to work better and better and better until you get to a certain dose, and then once you start increasing from there, it will actually work worse and you'll have more side effects. So if you find a dose that works for you, stick with that dose. More isn't necessarily better. The overarching theme with all supplements always is that quality is of utmost importance. There's very low regulation surrounding supplements, so you want to make sure that you're aiming for a product that has quality seals and that is well regulated within the supplement industry, because there's no really overseeing on the quality of supplements. And this is especially true with CBD, but all supplements that exist. So then I'll talk briefly about prescription meds. The overall takeaway for prescription meds from the sleep medicine organization is that none of them are great. They all bring with them a lot of side effects, and you're going to have a decreased sleep quality, decreased time in REM sleep and restorative sleep using sleep meds versus if you sleep without sleep meds. So this is just something to keep in mind when you are using a sleep med. If you're prescribed one, think about using it really only as needed, maybe not using it every night. And there's a lot of different choices for different sleep meds. So you want to talk with your provider about the one that's best for you. Two pretty common sleep medications that we use. The first one is trazodone. So trazodone is probably something that you've heard of if you've used a sleep med. We use 50 to 100 milligrams about an hour before sleep. And interestingly, when you look at the use of trazodone in a large population, we don't really see that much benefit with improvements in total sleep time. There's some benefits in sleep onset, like you'll fall asleep more quickly, but staying asleep, not great. So if it's working for you, that's good, but overall not one that actually has very much data to support it, especially based on how much we use it. One that is a little bit more not used as frequently, but actually does work is called doxepin. Low dose doxepin, 3 or 6 milligrams, can really help with sleep maintenance. So this is staying asleep. So if you're someone that wakes up in the middle of the night, this can be a good drug for you to try. It's a repurposed depression medication that they put at baby doses to use for sleep, and it actually has some good data there. And then we have our benzodiazepine, or I should say non-benzodiazepine sleep medications. So that would be like Ambien and Lunesta. These are going to work. They work on your sleep-wake cycle, and they work to promote the sleep part of your sleep-wake cycle. They will help with falling asleep and staying asleep. So they do have a little bit benefit there. But again, you're going to have less time in REM sleep and restorative sleep. So these, something you would really want to use as needed. And then the last is like a newer class of medication. So these are going to work on the wake part of your sleep-wake cycle, and these will suppress it. So these, in the middle of the night, your body starts to release hormones that tell you it's time to get up. And this is going to suppress those hormones, make them come a little later so that you can stay asleep longer. So these are better for sleep maintenance. Examples are Belsomra and Dayvigo. A little bit newer medications, so they are still brand name. They might be a little bit more expensive, but this is another option if you're someone who has trouble with waking up in the middle of the night. So I hope you found this helpful. Just a little bit of additional information on over-the-counter and prescription medications that you can use for sleep.